Welcome to Ask M&R episode 198. If you're new to the series, this is where I answer your questions about LEGO, myself, or literally anything. You can ask down in the comments section below, and I might pick your question next week. Also, if you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button and like up some other people's comments that you also want to see answered. If you see someone having asked a question that you want to see answered, make sure you just give that comment a thumbs up to help it get to the top. Let's get into it with our first question from Xander. He says, do you think LEGO will re-release or remake the Hoth Echo Base set or the Snowspeeder set? I want something to go with the summer 2020 AT-AT. So we'll spin this a little bit, and I think it's more pertinent because of the UCS AT-AT. If they were going to do something really to go with that summer set, they would have done it last summer. But the potential of a summer 2022 Echo Base or something seems high. It seems like it should happen because they've got all of this Imperial stuff with the Hoth AT-ST, the Snowtrooper Battle Pack, and now the UCS AT-ST, or AT-AT rather, sorry. And there is just nothing from the Rebel side, which is rather puzzling to me. So I would assume that something like that is coming, and it is very likely to happen in the summer of 2022. I you know, as much as I hated UCS Hoth for being a UCS set, but if they went back to the drawing board with that set, took the UCS moniker off, throw on Master Builder Series, and have a few fundamental changes to the set, like allowing the Wampa to walk through his own Wampa cave door, you might end up with a pretty good thing that's going to go really well with that UCS AT-AT. I could definitely see it happening next year, although for Master Builder Series, I think Endor's the most likely. Anyway, moving on from Mr. Zeller, he says, I really want the 2020 AT-AT. More AT-AT talk. He says, I see selling my 2014 AT-AT as an opportunity to be able to purchase it more easily. I also want to sell my 2014 Snowspeeder and replace it with the 20th anniversary Snowspeeder. I know that one is already end of life. What would you recommend? This sounds like a really good option for you, and it's something that I think is interesting because, like, when you buy a new iPhone, like every time I buy a new iPhone, I sell my old iPhone to like fund that. But I feel like when people buy, like, you know, if you're gonna go buy another LEGO AT-AT, you just keep your old one. It's not like as cut and dry as it is, I think, with tech. I still think it's worth it for you to do. I think it's a pretty decent upgrade from the 2014 to the 2020 version. If you haven't seen my comparison video already, which I'm sure you have, you can check that out and you'll get a pretty good idea of seeing them next to each other. As for the Snowspeeder, I think it's less of an upgrade, but it's still an upgrade, I guess, especially if you want just to have that 20th anniversary version. So yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't do this. It seems like a pretty sensible way to upgrade your sets while really, I mean, you're maybe at the end of the day going to spend $50 out of pocket, I would imagine. Ezra says, are you a Team C's creator? Mark Rober said to go to your favorite creator, so here I am. Very flattering. Thank you, Mr. Ezra. But I am not. They didn't contact me or whatever. But if you have some money burning a hole in your pocket that you want to donate to a nice charity, I think Team C's is a pretty good one. Cleaning up the ocean seems like a pretty good thing to do. So yeah, pretty cool to see what they're doing with that. And they've raised a ton of money so far. So yeah, just piling on here. Definitely check it out if you somehow haven't heard of it. Next up from Levi, he says, do you think more LEGO Clone Wars sets will come in 2022? Any polybags for Star Wars? So Clone Wars stuff obviously not happening in the first half of the year unless the minifig packs are coming out in the first half of the year, in which case there could be something from the Clone Wars there, and I emphasis on could because I would say probably not, probably episode 3 with Phase 2 Cody. That being said, the minifig packs, from what I can tell, are coming out in January of this year, like, or next year. So like those minifig packs I think are closer than we think, which is really an exciting prospect. But I really picked this question because I wanted to talk about polybags, which don't get a lot of respect in the LEGO space. Do polybags fall off? Like, what happened? We had all these great polybags in like 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, and then like now we just get one measly polybag a year, and it's just like based on like like another Imperial shuttle polybag. Cool, I guess. What about a Bad Batch shuttle? What about something fresh like that? What about an AT-AT polybag? You know, LEGO Star Wars polybags with minifigures. They did it before, and now they just completely refuse to do it. I mean, this is part of my never-ending frustration with LEGO Star Wars. Just like all these great missed opportunities. And yeah, just polybags seem to have fallen off, and I don't know where they are and if they'll ever come back like they used to be. I used to love walking into Target and having like 4 different Star Wars polybags to choose from, and that's just not a thing anymore. It's kind of tragic. Moving on from Will, he says, have you ever done No Shave November, and will you do it this year? I can tell you probably haven't been watching the channel too long because I think I did it last year. Maybe it was the year before. Either way, just yanking your chain. But like, just like, why would I do this again to myself? I can't grow a beard. It's not gonna look good. Not gonna do that.
He was so ugly that everyone died.
We got a real good hypothetical here from Zachary. He says, does replacing a broken or lost piece from an old set with a new one make it not genuine? Like, should I care if I'm buying a used set and don't know if all the pieces are from the original set? Kind of like a Theseus ship type situation. So for those that don't understand what he brought up at the end there, I believe it's the idea that you have like a boat or a wooden boat or whatever, and so you have the boat as it was originally, but over time, parts of the boat deteriorate and you have to replace those parts of the boat, and eventually, through just random replacement of parts, the entire boat is now made up completely of different parts than the original boat as it was many years before. And it's a very interesting theoretical question of like, is it still the same boat? And for me, with Lego sets, I never really thought of it like this. And I guess I shouldn't be the one to tell you, should you care about this? I don't care about it. I don't think that it's something worth worrying about, because Lego is so, interchangeable. It's kind of part of its draw for a lot of people that you can take a piece from one set, cannibalize that, and throw it into another set if you need it. I do it from time to time when I really need a piece for something because I'm not digging through the bin and I know where it is, like just give me this piece, I'm going to put it there and I'll get another one for that one later. I also don't think it makes it not genuine. I've never seen anyone ever before be like, yeah, I replaced this part and so maybe you should be paying less for this. Like, it definitely doesn't devalue it. You're never going to be able to tell unless the piece is like brand new and you've got a bunch of yellowed parts on a set, and that's a little bit of a different case. And also, like, could any number of pieces have ended up in the box of the pieces that you got anyway? So like, it could have been any number of those dark bluish gray 2x4s in your set that ended up in someone else's. Like, I just don't see it. But I think I would still consider it to be like the same Lego set, right? It's kind of like how your family is still the same family like 10 generations back, even though it's not the same people in the family. Or maybe even better, a sports analogy where like the Boston Celtics are still the Boston Celtics no matter how many players come in and out of the door to play for the team. Nando Studio says, can you make a video summarizing your beef with Lego? I'd rather not, but I will give you like 2 sentences. Imagine you're in the 2nd grade and you're doing multiplication squares, and you do multiplication squares way better than anyone else in the class. You expect to get to take a trip to the prize box at the back of the classroom with all these prizes that the teacher has set aside for the class. But the teacher picks somebody who only got 50% of their multiplication squares right when you got 90% of your multiplication squares right. By the way, I was really good at multiplication squares in like 2nd or 3rd grade, and it was a fun competition every time those came around. I got real excited. Anyway, next up from James, he says, when you sell a used set with a high piece count, how do you go about packaging the pieces? Do you fully deconstruct the set and put the pieces into properly numbered bags, or do you just deconstruct the set into a few large sections? Also, what are your thoughts on charging more for going through the process of taking a set completely apart? So, whenever I have sold a used Lego set, I either sometimes don't take it apart and I try to like be forward with it in the eBay listing, like sold as is, it will be shipped built, or I take it apart completely piece by piece and put everything into like bags randomly. I do not think it is worth your time to go back through like the instructions and figure out which pieces were in which bag. I only found out like 2 weeks ago that somebody, I can't even remember who, somebody builds Lego sets that I know, and then when they're done with them, they completely take them apart and put them back as they were in their numbered bags. And I could not believe that somebody took the time to do that. I think it's worth charging more. Like, your time is worth money. I don't think it's worth your time to do this though. But like, the other thing is, people that are buying it aren't going to want to pay more because you did that, like they just probably don't care enough, and it's not like a marketable thing really. It's expected if a set is sealed, obviously, but for anything used, nobody expects it, and certainly even less people would probably be willing to pay more just because you already organized their used set. So in my opinion, really not worth your time at the end of the day. You could always experiment with it, see if you can get more money for your time and services there when you deconstruct something like that, but generally I would say just take it all apart, put it in bags, and the person who buys it buys used knowing what that means. No numbered bags, parts might be a little damaged, stuff like that. Aaron T says, as a fan of Batman 1989, would you recommend getting the Batwing or the Batmobile set? I love the Batwing, and if you really want something to throw on the wall, because it can hang on the wall, which is really cool, get the Batwing. But really, dude, the Batmobile, you gotta go for the Batmobile. It is an amazing set, absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, hopefully I'll have my Tumblr review out soon too, by the way, but the Batmobile is just spectacular. Definitely go for that one. Uncle Ira says, if LEGO Star Wars gets their crap together and starts performing really well as a company, do you think you will stop collecting Black Series or Hasbro products? And coming off that, is there a correlation between your love for Hasbro and not so much love for LEGO? I do think there is a correlation between when I started to get really pissed off at LEGO for just being a bad company in my eyes and not treating me what I thought was well, and you remember our analogy before, and me, taking a little peek across the room and be like, hey, who's that over there? We got some Black Series. That's some nice collectible stuff. And, you know, going for that. That being said, it's now part of my life. It's not going anywhere. Even if I one day are to love LEGO as much as I once did, and that would be a real tough thing to get back to where I was. Because I mean, you don't get these types of reactions because you dislike a thing.
A great success!
I never thought I would be this excited. I never thought I would be this excited about it. But I thoroughly enjoy collecting Black Series. Another part of it for me was like the thrill of the hunt and having something to go out and try to chase down and buy and go through old stuff. Because I'm really close to collecting all the LEGO Star Wars sets. I wanted something new to learn as well, as far as like collecting things goes. So like just a completely different way of collecting with Black Series and buying older things that I don't have. Because most LEGO Star Wars sets I have at this point, which is insane. 13-year-old me would be very proud. I actually, for the first time, bought some Hasbro Mission Fleet sets. So I plan to do some comparisons between the actual LEGO set and the Hasbro Mission Fleet sets on my M&R Collects channel, and that's exciting. So yeah, going nowhere, and there's a correlation between how much I started to dislike LEGO and how much I started to look towards Black Series and Hasbro, but there will be no correlation if it ever swings back the other way. I will continue to buy Black Series. JB Sargent says, I'm in the process of looking for a car since I am going to be getting my driver's license soon. Congratulations. He says, I was wondering what year and type your Ford Mustang is. It's a 2020 Mustang EcoBoost. And he says, how do I convince my parents to get me a used Ford Mustang? They don't want me to have a sports car. I'm trying to convince them that it isn't the same as other sports cars. Not quite sure how it's not the same as other sports cars. That being said, I don't think you want this, and it depends, I guess, on how old of a car you get, but the insurance on the car, especially if you're just getting your driver's license, so I assume you're 16, 17, 18 years old or something, the insurance on that for you is going to be absurd. I pay about $200 a month for my car insurance, and I'm 24, and I have a completely clean record. I have never been pulled over. I have had no problems whatsoever. I have like the cleanest record anybody could have, and they are still just completely railing me for insurance for $200 a month. It's absurd. Like, I can't believe it. Hopefully that will go down soon when I turn 25. Yeah, I don't think you know what you're getting into or what you're asking your parents to pay for as well. Like when they get into that, I mean, they could be looking for a new driver, $300-400 a month, man. Like that's, or if you have to pay that too, it's expensive. I feel like that's asking a lot of your parents, or it's also asking a lot of yourself at 16, 17, 18 years old, probably with a minimum wage job, if you even have that, if you have a job, or if you're in high school, you know, like it's not the easiest thing. Like I wanted a Mustang when I was, 18, but I, one, couldn't afford it. 2, couldn't afford the insurance. A 2004 Honda Accord was my first car. Like, you just kind of have to start with older cars, unless your parents are completely loaded, and that's fine. Like, just go hog wild. There were definitely a few kids at my high school that had that luxury. Plus, like, you're just learning how to drive. Don't go out there with a nice car that you really love with a pretty high, maybe the highest chance during the entirety of your life that you'll screw it up. Oh, we got a good one here from Dart. He says, just received the Christmas 2021 catalog and noticed that the UCS Gunship still has the Imperial logo for the name. Do you think LEGO no longer cares about the set and will continue to print this error on future prints of the set, even though they said that this misprint would be fixed after the first wave? So I fully expect the boxes at some point in the next 2 months to finally adorn the Republic logo. It's absolutely absurd that you have to wait 6 months to get a proper box. Thank you so much, LEGO, and they offered nothing for that. But I think the more important thing here is that the December, or I guess the holiday, it's November, the November 2021 catalog, it's now been over 3 months since the Republic Gunship first came out, and LEGO as a company still hasn't figured it out. They also have never done anything else with that designer interview or like released a fixed one or anything, so that's even more awesome. Love to see it. But like, I had to look up a video for this catalog because mine hasn't arrived yet, and someone did DM me this like a week ago, and then I lost their DM, so that's great. But I found Adam's Brick Collection on YouTube had uploaded a video of this catalog, and it's not the greatest quality, but you can see that is the Imperial logo in the catalog there. So LEGO keeping it classy, continuing to get it wrong in the face of the fans. It was the fans, dude. It's so tragic, man. So yeah, the catalog's got it wrong. They just can't get it right. Love to see it. I mean, hate to see it. Do you love to see it? 1755 says, what do you think the likelihood of a 2003 to 2023 OG Clone Wars anniversary lineup is? 0. What would your opinion be of an idea of like this? Like, obviously I'm gonna love something like that, but they're not gonna do that. And that's why I have been so drawn to the Black Series. Look, They made 3 of them. They just got revealed the other day. I think it's Fordo, Grievous, and I forget who the 3rd character was, but you'll see him on the picture now. There is a problem with Fordo, apparently. I saw Michael MGF going on a pretty tough rant about this. Apparently, it's some big reuses of parts for Fordo, so the Hasbro cracks are showing. But, like, at least they're willing to make 2003 Clone Wars stuff. Like, geez, man, that Grievous is pretty slick looking at it. The packaging is beautiful. Like, man, like, and LEGO just made one set one time. I don't even know why they made it. It was kind of a weird set to make in 2015. The Anakin's Jedi Starfighter, custom Jedi Starfighter. But yeah, like I love that, but it's just never going to happen. They won't touch it. I wish they'd make a Munilus gunship though. That would be the one set I would want from that time period the most. You know, I was also thinking about this. I was like, oh, the second it becomes canon again. Wait. Hasbro did it. It doesn't have to be canon again. They can just do it at any time. So, I mean, maybe we need to make a big fuss that we want, like, a 2003 Clone Wars set, because it would be so beyond lit to have, like, a Dirge with a Munilus gunship and, like, maybe the Obi-Wan in his clone armor. Oh, my God. And we're only 1 week into November. Apparently, I picked 2 questions from Uncle Ira. Says, what is your reason for reviewing retired sets that are not on shelves anymore, like your recent AT-AT review? I feel like there is not a large market for people willing to buy the set compared to the market for people buying sets on shelves. You are not incorrect. The amount of people willing to buy a set that's now $500 is going to be a lot less than people that are going to be willing and able to buy a set that's currently on their shelf at Target for $100 or whatever the case may be. That being said, one, a lot of people just want to watch me review older sets. Like it's just an interesting thing to watch. 2, some amount of people are considering buying it, and I would love to give my input on whether or not they should buy it, or at least give them a video where they can look at it and see what they'll be getting in very good quality, hopefully. But also one of my main goals on YouTube with my LEGO channel over the next decade, I suppose, is to eventually have reviewed every single LEGO Star Wars set. So you may notice on my channel, I've been creating playlists for each year of LEGO Star Wars. And so I've got a bunch of the different years segmented up, and eventually all of those playlists will be filled up with reviews of every LEGO Star Wars set. So anyone at any point in time, years down the line, can come in and I take a closer look at a set they're thinking about buying, see some odd quirks, listen to me talk about it, whatever they want. But it's not always about, you know, appealing to the biggest market of people willing to buy something. Some of my most viewed reviews are about sets that have been retired for many years. Some of them just have that pull to them. And Nathan Yu, who definitely is not a knockoff Nathan for you, says, hey Ryan, I noticed that the set 75021 has a poster inside and was wondering if any other Star Wars sets have had posters in them. Did you like the idea of having posters inside, and do you think they will ever do this again? Thanks, I love your videos, keep up the good work. Thanks, buddy. They probably won't ever do it again. I mean, it seems like a weird addition. Posters, I feel like, aren't super popular things that get people to buy a LEGO set. And poster, like, it's a LEGO set. You're not buying it for a poster. LEGO should sell posters, though. That being said, I love some of my LEGO posters that I've had in the past. But there are other themes that did posters around the same time. I feel like 2010 to 2013 or 14 was like their big poster era. And stuff like the Gunship and the Jabba's Sail Barge had posters in them. And then sets from Pirates of the Caribbean, even as small as like the smallest Pirates of the Caribbean set, had a poster inside. It was kind of weird. Creed Skywalker says, personally, I'm looking forward to the release of the UCS AT-AT, not for the set itself because it's too expensive, but for the Luke's lightsaber promo coming with it. But as a younger collector of exclusively Star Wars sets, I need to manage my money wisely. So my question is, how much do you think the promo will go for in the secondary market, mainly eBay, at the time of release? Also love the channel, keep up the great work. Thank you, Mr. Creed. I think that this set, much like the Yoda's lightsaber, is going to be worth about $100 right when it drops. It is going to go up in price over time because there are only going to be so many made, and there will be less on the market as time goes on. That being said, it's currently completely unknown if this lightsaber will be attached to the AT-AT solely, or if you can get the lightsaber along with other sets, like if it's a $120 threshold or something, or if you have to buy the $800 set. We should know soon, but we just don't know right now. But if you do have to end up buying it on the secondary market, I would recommend waiting about 3 to 7 days after the promo starts. That'll probably be the height of how many are available on the market. And so you'll see the most competition in the market slightly driving that price down, and just buy the cheapest one, buy it now and be done with it. Maybe put in an offer on 1 or 2 things and see if you can get an extra good deal. But yeah, it's probably going to cost you about $100, unfortunately. I have to go to the LEGO store to buy the Titanic now. Let me know in the comments if you bought the Titanic. Also, if you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you have a question for next week's episode, leave it in the comments section below. Thanks for watching so much, and I'll see you next time on 199.